All right, let's get to our first step of building our secure password checker. Now in here, I have a checkmypass.py file. You can do the same, and then I have my terminal right over here. What we want to do is initially import the requests module. If you haven't, well, then you can install the requests module. The request module is going to allow us to make a request. So remember, it's kind of like having a browser without, well, the actual browser. We can just manually request something as if we have a browser and we get some data back. So the way we can actually use the request module with the password API is that we can have the password API URL, which I'll just tell you what it is. It's https://api.pwnedpasswords.com. And then we give it a range / and in here, this is where we give it the password. So we can just do plus, and let's just for now do password 123. So that's the URL that we're going to use. Let's make this a little bit smaller, like that. Now in here, we're going to get a response by doing the requests.get, and let's just type this in and see what happens. If I save and run this program, and remember, we don't have the ability to type in the passwords yet, so let's just run the file. All right, so we get something, but it looks like an error. And that's because I did HTTPS. Silly me. But again, I want to show you that, yeah, right here, I'm able to read the errors, and it looks like it's an invalid schema, no connection adapter for, well, HTTPS. So if we run that again, all right, it looks like it worked, no errors, but let's print this out to see what we get. So print response, and I'm going to run this, and we got response 400. Now, a response or 400 is not good. Usually that means unauthorized or something's not right with the API. Now, these response codes are something we'll get into in the web development section of the course, but it just means that 400 is not good. We want a response of 200. 200 means okay. And the reason this happens is because this is not how the API actually works. You see here, we just gave it a password, but the way that this API works is it uses something called hashing. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to include a bonus lesson after this one so that you can learn a little bit more about hashing. But I have here this website that I'm going to link to, and let's make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully you can see. It's a SHA-1 hash generator. Now, hashing a password, it's something that you should always do. Let's say you're saving a user's password to a database. You should never store a user's password in what we call plain text. That is exactly what the password is. Instead, we want to do something called hash it. That is, run it through a hashing algorithm to make it gibberish. So when I do password 123 here and I click generate and I scroll down, this is the hashed password. Notice here that as I change this password, this changes as well. But the key here, and this is something that we'll talk about in that bonus video, is that hashing is a one-way function. So there's many different hashing algorithms. There's MD5s, there's SHA-256. We're using SHA-1 because this is what this API is using. And SHA-1 essentially just hashes. It's an algorithm that is a function that does this gibberish output of password 123. But no matter how many times we generate password 123, it's always going to be the same hash. So this way we can actually check if somebody types a password and we already have the hashed version of a password in, let's say, a database, we can actually compare the hashed version of this password to the database hashed password. Again, don't get too confused here. Hopefully in that bonus video, we'll cover this a little bit more. But the key thing is that this API, because we want to be as secure as possible, is, well, we don't want to send over the wire our real password. Instead, we want to send this hashed version of our password. So if I copy this and put it over here, this is what we should be sending to the API. But here's the problem. This is still not super secure, because anybody can come now and type in and keep guessing, and eventually hit on password 123 and see, oh, this hash is the exact same one as this hash. So they will know that this is our password. So this API uses a technique called k-anonymity. And this is actually a modern technique that big companies like Google, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon all use. K-anonymity allows somebody to receive information about us, yet still not know who we are. How does this work? By the way, this is actually a technique that is used a lot, especially now where using personal data for companies, it's frowned upon. So ideally, you don't want to give your personal information to companies. So some companies that care about security and privacy use this k-anonymity to track you but still not know who you are. Now, the way this works is that we only give the first 5 characters of our hash password. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I remove this, what this API is going to do is it has a list of all the passwords that have been leaked. However, all these passwords are hashed with the SHA-1 algorithm. So it's going to look in its database of all these passwords and pick all the hashed passwords that have the first 5 characters that match this. So this way, with the response, we're going to get all the passwords that are hashed that have this. So that on our end, when we receive that response, we can check the rest of the hash function. This way, this API is never going to know our full hash, and therefore never ever be able to guess our password. They'll just know that we have this tiny bit of a hash function that could match any hundreds of passwords. How cool is that? So if I actually save this and run, I get a response of 200. Awesome. All right, let's take a break, learn a little bit more about hashing, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.